Welcome back to the Deep Dive, the place where we take these huge stacks of information, and in this case, it's an incredible collection of culinary material, and we distill it all down so you can become an instant expert on the hidden depths of a single topic.
And today, we have, I think, one of the most surprising deep dives we've done yet. We got a request that was focused entirely on salsa.
Entirely?
Yeah, and when we say entirely, we mean it. We're moving so far beyond that simple red tomato staple you grab with a chip. We found this just vast, complex category of flavors that really challenges every single assumption you might have about what a salsa can be.
Okay, so let's unpack that, because what we're looking at here is, it's essentially a masterclass in culinary versatility. Our mission for this deep dive is to get past the traditional pico de gallo and to explore the sheer breadth of varieties, showcasing all these unexpected ingredients and, the very precise techniques that take salsa from just a simple side to something really sophisticated. Often it's more like a relish or a prepared topping.
What's truly fascinating to me is the realization that salsa isn't just It's not a handful of recipes. It's a preparation methodology.
I love that. A methodology.
Exactly. This collection defines all these different profiles by their technique. Raw, cooked, roasted, simmered. And it reveals these wildly diverse ingredients. We're talking about cranberries, honeydew melon, bacon, and even exotic chiles like the high Scoville Scotch Bennet seed. This material just absolutely proves that salsa is an incredibly fluid, adaptable culinary category.
Okay, love that framing. Salsa as a methodology defined by technique. And to really get our heads around that, I think we have to start with the foundational recipes, specifically the green ones, which are just dominated by the tomatillo.
Right. If you think about classic red salsa, it relies on the tomato for its sweet acidity and its body. The green foundation relies almost entirely on the tomatillo, and it's almost always paired with some kind of strategic heat. And when we look at the Anaheim salsa verde preparation, a true classic, the emphasis is 100% on maximizing flavor and texture through heat.
And here's where the technique gets really intense right from the start. The first step involves, intense dry heat. You're preparing and heating the broiler to char the skins of 6 green Anaheim chiles.
Yeah, about 3/4 of a pound.
And they're positioned incredibly close to that heat source, right? Just a couple of inches away.
And that proximity, it's non-negotiable. Precision is everything here. You have to turn them frequently, broiling them until the skins blister up and get really aggressively charred.
And that whole process takes, about 8 to 12 minutes?
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it adds this crucial layer of deep smokiness and complexity that, a raw Anaheim chile just cannot provide. This is pure flavor development, not just cooking.
But the work isn't done right after the charring stops. Once they're broiled, you have to immediately transfer those chiles into a bowl and cover it tightly.
That steam cooling step is absolutely vital. It's what allows that trapped heat to loosen the skin, which makes them dramatically easier to peel cleanly.
Which brings up a critical safety note that we saw mentioned over and over again in the prep instructions.
Yes. You must wear rubber gloves when you're peeling the chiles and when you're cutting off and discarding the ribs and seeds.
Why is that so important? Anaheims aren't super hot.
No, but even relatively mild chiles like that can carry enough capsaicin oil to cause significant skin irritation, especially when you're handling a bunch of them. This step protects your hands, but it also removes the bitter parts of the inner membranes.
So once those intensely flavored chiles are all prepped, the recipe shifts to the simmering base.
Right. This involves combining canned, drained tomatillos with some chicken stock and a few cloves of garlic. And you simmer that mixture for about 10 minutes, just until the tomatillos get tender.
And why canned tomatillos here? Does that make a big difference over fresh?
It does, actually. The combination of canned tomatillos and broth gives you a really consistent, slightly milder acidity. Fresh tomatillos can sometimes be, overwhelmingly tart and a little inconsistent. So using canned, drained ones provides a much more reliable base.
Okay, that makes sense.
So then you add the peeled chiles into that tender tomatillo mixture, let it cool a bit, and then you just pulse it in a blender until it's coarsely chopped.
So the texture is key. It's supposed to be chunky, not a liquid sauce.
Exactly. Though the recipe does give you an option to add a full cup of packed cilantro sprigs and pulse it finally at the end if you want that.
That focus on technique, broiling for smoke, steaming for ease, simmering for tenderness, pulsing for chunkiness, it just shows the depth required even for a salsa that's labeled basic.
For sure. But we also have recipes that use dried chiles and completely different cooking methods.
Right, like the chipotle tomatillo salsa.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That one takes a fundamentally different high-heat approach to its tomatillos. For this recipe, which uses 2 dried chipotle chills, you start by roasting the husked tomatillos, about half a pound of them, in a thick skillet over high heat until they're charred and a little tender.
And critically, once they cool, you remove and discard the skin.
You do?
Now, that's a fascinating contrast to the Anaheim recipe where the tomatillos were just simmered. Why go through all the extra labor of roasting the tomatillos just to throw the skin away? Aren't you losing some of that rich, smoky flavor you just created?
That is a brilliant question, and it speaks directly to the final texture and flavor profile you're aiming for. You want to extract that deep, smoky char flavor into the flesh of the tomatillo while getting rid of the potentially tough, slightly bitter texture of the skin, which can get kind of rubbery if you puree it.
Ah, okay. So the smokiness is coming from somewhere else.
Exactly. The main smoky flavor in this particular salsa is driven by the 2 dried chipotle chills, which are, fundamentally just smoke-cured jalapenos.
So the simmering base for those chipotles is built separately then?
Correct. It's a combination of water, cilantro stems, and leaves. Using the stems is great for deeper flavor extraction. The 2 dried chipotles, garlic, and a small chopped onion.
And how long does that simmer for?
Just 5 to 7 minutes until those chipotles are completely softened. Only then do you transfer that whole softened base into a blender. Add the roasted skinned tomatillos, some lime juice, a little bit of sugar, and kosher salt, and then puree it until it's smooth. It's this really complex layering of smoke from the chipotles, brightness from the lime, and depth from the roasted tomatillos.
Then we shift gears again with the jalapeno salsa, which feels almost like a hybrid of the 2 earlier cooking techniques.
It really does. This one uses a much larger quantity of tomatillos, 12 of them, and a pretty substantial heat source, anywhere from 6 to 12 stemmed jalapenos. And they're all simmered together with water, white wine vinegar, sugar, and salt.
And the instruction is just to simmer for 10 minutes until the tomatillos are soft.
Yep. Then after cooling, you puree the entire mixture with a full cup of cilantro until it is, and I love this description, green all over and smoothened.
That's great.
That initial boiling and simmering step, it removes that raw, sharp edge from both the tomatillos and the chills. So you get this smooth, intensely flavored, but uniformly cooked puree. The goal here is a uniform, deep green color and smooth consistency. It's prioritizing smoothness over chunkiness.
So moving away from those multi-stage cooked preparations, we also have raw variations, which, fundamentally change the texture and flavor. The green salsa is a great example of a quick raw prep.
That recipe is so straightforward and immediate. It's just 8 husked tomatillos, 3 small shallots, 2 peeled garlic cloves, 1 seeded jalapeno, and a generous 4 ounces of chopped green chili peppers.
And you just throw it all in a food processor.
All in a processor, and you pulse it only until it's coarsely chopped. That rapid, raw approach preserves the bright, sharp acidity of the tomatillos and the intense, fresh heat of the chills. There's no tempering of flavor here. It's just immediate, sharp, and very textural.
And then on the complete flip side of fresh, we see recipes designed for convenience, like the green Tabasco salsa. This one seems to bridge that gap between fresh prep and just using pantry staples.
It definitely prioritizes accessibility and consistency, probably for a less experienced cook. It blends 6 to 8 roasted green chiles with canned diced green chiles. It even specifies a brand like Ortega, along with prepared tomatillo sauce and chopped tomatoes.
And the heat is dialed in with Tabasco.
Exactly.
Yeah.
5 to 6 dashes of green jalapeno Tabasco sauce. It uses pre-roasted chiles for that foundational flavor, but it supplements heavily with canned goods and a commercial hot sauce to make sure you get a consistent result with minimal chopping and simmering. It's a high-flavor, low-effort blend designed for speed.
So already, just the term green salsa can mean everything from a technical, multi-step broiled and simmered relish to a quick, raw, pulsed dip, or a convenience blend with commercial hot sauces. That is a massive spectrum.
Huge.
Okay, let's pivot hard now to the really surprising side of these sources, the fruit.
When most people think of fruit salsa, they immediately jump to mango or pineapple. But this collection showcases incredible variety. We're moving into stone fruits, winter ingredients, and even using fruit salsas as these complex cooked reductions or relishes.
This is where salsa really transitions from a chip dip to a highly versatile composed culinary category, suitable for proteins or even desserts.
It really is.
I was really struck by the apple cucumber salsa because it feels so unexpected in its texture and flavor blend. The core is finely diced Granny Smith apples combined with peeled, seeded, and diced cucumber, along with red and green bell peppers and 2 finely diced jalapenos.
And the most essential instruction in this recipe is the mandatory time requirement. You have to combine everything, cover it, and refrigerate it for about 24 hours before you serve it.
24 hours is a long time.
It is, but it's absolutely essential. That extended chilling time is needed for the apples to soften slightly in the acidic mix of lime juice and oil. It's not just about blending the flavors. It lets the components marinate and soften the fibrous apple and cucumber pieces, which enables the flavors of the garlic and peppers to penetrate evenly through everything.
Okay, so you contrast that long chill raw method with the apple jalapeno salsa, which is entirely a cooked approach. And it uses this unique 2-stage thermal reduction that involves marination and syrup formation.
This process is honestly closer to making jam or chutney than a traditional salsa. You combine 4 diced apples, 2 seeded jalapenos, water, and the juice and zest of 2 lemons, and you marinate that for 60 minutes.
But here's the crazy technique.
Right, here's the trick. You drain that liquid off, and you simmer it separately for 20 minutes until the volume is reduced by half, creating this intense concentrated syrup. Only then do you add a small, thinly sliced leek and simmer for another 10 minutes.
Wait, a leek in an apple salsa. That is a very specific savory choice. What is the role of a leek in what's a primarily sweet and acidic context?
The leek adds this subtle savory allium note to that sweet tart syrup. It provides an unexpected aromatic depth, lifting the profile beyond just simple fruit sweetness.
Wow.
Then you add the reserved apple jalapeno mixture back in and simmer for 20 more minutes until the syrup forms and the apples get tender. It's finished off the heat with chopped mint, and it requires chilling until you use it. This is, without a doubt, a true relish designed to cut through rich meats or cheeses.
Now let's talk about the apricot salsa. This recipe includes a step that is, undeniably high drama and demands a chef's attention: flaming dark rum.
This is a complex and theatrical finish. After sautéing the onions, a finely minced jalapeno, and a small chopped tomato and olive oil, you add 2 chalked apricots and just enough apple cider to cover the mixture. You boil this until the liquid is nearly all absorbed.
And then you stir in some bell pepper.
Half of roasted red bell pepper, yeah. And then the final spectacular step is pouring in 2 tablespoons of dark rum and flaming the mixture.
Whoa.
That intense, immediate flash of heat caramelizes any residual sugars on the fruit. And it introduces this very distinct, deep, woody, aged flavor note that you just cannot get through simple simmering.
So it's not purely for show. That application of high heat is a functional step that fundamentally changes the flavor structure. That's great context.
Totally functional.
Then, for something completely opposite, we have the fresh peach and plum salsa, which is just a simple, immediate, fresh mix of 2 peeled and diced peaches, 2 peeled and diced plums, some raisins, red onion, lemon juice, and fresh mint.
A very simple preparation that prioritizes the natural, clean flavor of the stone fruits over any cooking or reduction. The raisins add a nice chewy texture and concentrated sweetness, and the fresh mint ensures a bright, almost summery finish. It's an easy assembly designed to be eaten pretty much right away.
The blueberry salsa surprised me the most, if only for the textural specificity in the preparation. It uses 2 cups of cleaned blueberries, but it mandates that 1.5 cups of those berries have to be chopped coarsely before you combine them with the whole berries, minced jalapenos, bell pepper, and red onion.
That textural distinction is completely deliberate and is vital to how the salsa functions. The coarse chopping of most of the berries releases the blueberry juice to form the immediate base liquid, which then interacts with the acid and heat.
And the whole berries are for texture.
Exactly. The whole berries provide that characteristic pop and burst of fresh flavor when you eat it. It has to stand for 60 minutes after mixing to allow the components to meld, making sure that liquid base is properly formed.
We also see a different preparation method for the cherry salsa, which uses a classic thickening technique. This is a cooked salsa that uses both frozen unsweetened cherries and a 1/4 cup of dry tart cherries.
This is where we see a very technical culinary method integrated. You drain the thawed cherries and reserve 1 tablespoon of the juice. And that reserved juice is combined with 1 teaspoon of cornstarch to form what's known as a slurry.
A slurry, for those who might not be familiar, is basically a thickening agent.
Exactly. It's a mixture of starch, cornstarch in this case, and liquid, which you add to the cherry mix, along with cilantro, garlic, jalapenos, and onion. It's cooked over mid-heat, stirring often until the mixture thickens. The slurry ensures the final product sets up like a thick, savory jam or chutney, transforming the salsa into this structured, cooked condiment designed for topping.
Okay, now for what might be the most exotic combination in the entire stack, banana salsa.
This list of ingredients is truly wild.
It's incredible. 2 large bananas, red and green bell peppers, minced ginger, packed brown sugar, lime juice, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cardamom.
And we can't overlook the heat source. Half of a diced Scotch bonnet seed.
Wow.
The Scotch bonnet pepper is known for its incredible intensity, often reaching habanero-level heat. But crucially, it delivers a distinctly floral and fruity aroma. So combining that fruity heat with the naturally creamy texture of banana, the punch of ginger, and the highly aromatic, almost floral quality of cardamom, it makes this a genuinely unique, Caribbean-influenced flavor profile.
And this one isn't cooked.
No, it's designed to be refrigerated, not cooked, to preserve that fresh banana texture.
Speaking of creaminess, we have the creamy cucumber salsa, which shifts the foundation entirely from fruit or tomato to a cool dairy base.
This is a cool counterpoint, methodology-wise. It's approaching something like rarita or tzatziki. It requires cucumbers to be peeled, seeded, and finely shredded, then combined with equal parts plain yogurt and sour cream, along with coarse salt, cumin, parsley, and cilantro.
And this needs to chill for a while.
A significant duration, 2 to 4 hours. And that allows the creamy dairy base to fully absorb the flavors of the herbs and spices, and for the shredded cucumber to release some moisture without making the whole thing soupy.
Even when incorporating these non-traditional fruits, we see recipes bringing in savory vegetable components that stand in for the tomato body. The black bean and squash salsa is a perfect example of using a truly non-traditional neutral base vegetable.
Precisely. This recipe uses a substantial amount, 3 cups, of coarsely chopped, cooked spaghetti squash.
Spaghetti squash.
Yeah, it's combined with diced plum tomatoes, black beans, lime juice, jalapeno, and cilantro. The spaghetti squash takes on the role of a bulk filler. It provides structure and volume while staying pretty neutral in flavor. This allows the spices, the acidity, and the strong flavors of the black beans to really shine. It proves that salsa is also a vehicle for whatever fibrous base you choose.
That's brilliant. It's the perfect way to add volume and texture without adding the acidity of a tomato or the sweetness of a fruit. It's purely a structural ingredient.
And then we have the black bean and mango salsa, which is clearly designed as a vibrant, easy crowd pleaser. It combines canned black beans and whole kernel corn with mango cubes, lime zest and juice, cumin, and jalapeno.
The inclusion of lime zest alongside the cumin gives this a distinct southwestern or Tex-Mex flavor profile, balancing out the high sweetness of the fruit. And the simple serving suggestion, best when served with baked chips, reinforces that it's meant to be a straightforward, fresh, vibrant dip.
It does.
That brings us to the more recognizable but still varied tropical section.
Right. Tropical fruit salsas are immensely popular for their natural sweetness and bright colors. But even within this classic category, the preparation techniques vary significantly, especially when we look at how different heat applications fundamentally change the character of the fruit.
We have several approaches to pineapple. The simplest is in the chunky tomato fruit salsa, which just uses crushed and drained pineapples alongside honeydew melon and ripened tomatoes.
This preparation is focused entirely on using canned crushed pineapple for consistency and immediate use. It requires minimal chopping. The instruction to let it stand for only 15 minutes suggests a very quick assembly, and it's explicitly noted as being best when used as meat or fish relish.
So it's a quick, bright, acidic topping, not a standalone dip.
Exactly.
Now, you contrast that simple canned preparation with the high-impact technique applied to the fruit itself in the fire-grilled pineapple salsa.
This is a complete flavor transformation.
Yeah.
You take pineapple rings, you sprinkle them with pepper and chili seasoning, and then you grill them until both sides are aggressively starting to char.
Wow.
After cooling, you slice them into dice and combine them with finely diced red bell peppers and poblano chiles. The grilling intensely caramelizes the sugars, it concentrates the fruit's flavor, and it adds this smoky depth to the pineapple that entirely changes its character from fresh and tart to complex, smoky, and sweet.
And the standing time for this one is expensive. 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 hours. And that's specifically to allow those newly developed grilled, smoky flavors to fully meld and integrate with the other ingredients, like the lime juice, salt, and cilantro. That long rest is crucial for the complex flavor profile to settle.
And then if you look at the cranberry orange pineapple salsa, it feels really seasonally themed, like a Thanksgiving or Christmas relish.
For sure. It combines chopped cranberries, chopped oranges, chopped dry apricot, and honey.
That recipe combines the fruit entirely raw with the honey, lime juice, jalapeno, cilantro, onion, and it requires 2 hours of chilling time. The cranberry offers that tart, seasonal counterpoint, proving that fruit salsa can move far beyond tropical tastes and integrate winter produce really effectively.
Mango and papaya dominate a lot of these tropical recipes, and here we see how different chilies are used, not just to add heat, but to customize the heat's flavor profile. The mango papaya pepper salsa goes for a high spice factor by incorporating one seeded and stemmed serrano chili
And liquid hot sauce.
and a substantial amount of liquid hot sauce,
Mm.
mixed with peeled mango, papaya, and a colorful trio of bell peppers.
That level of heat suggests a serious counterpoint to the sweetness. The instruction dictates a gentle pulse of the fruit and chiles in a processor, and then separately combining the hot sauce, garlic, lime juice, and onions before mixing it all in.
That technique prevents the sauce from becoming overly smooth while making sure that intense heat is dispersed evenly.
Then you have the mango pico de gallo, which uses 6 roasted, long, mild green chiles alongside a large, firm mango and a large, firm tomato. And the key technical detail here is the strategic timing of one herb, cilantro.
Yes, the cilantro is entirely excluded at first. All the other ingredients, the mango, tomato, roasted chiles, minced jalapenos, onion, lime juice, and salt, are combined and refrigerated for 60 minutes to let those fundamental flavors blend. The finely chopped cilantro is only added prior to serving.
And why is that specific timing so critical?
It's a masterclass in preserving freshness. Cilantro is highly volatile. If you mix it into an acidic dressing and chill it for an hour, it risks wilting and losing its bright, fresh aroma and vibrant green color. By adding it right before serving, you maximize the crisp texture and intense freshness of the herb. It makes it a garnish that tastes as good as it looks.
And moving into the truly surprising ingredients, we have mango salsa version 2. This is notable for its base liquid, which is, frankly, startling.
It is entirely unexpected. It uses 2 peeled ripe mangoes, cilantro, bell pepper, lime juice, and a full half cup of hot jalapeno jelly.
A half cup.
Yeah, the jelly is stirred together with the lime juice to form the base liquid.
That's amazing. Using a commercial jelly serves 2 powerful functions.
Exactly. First, it provides a quick, thick, sticky, and sugary base without needing to do any extensive cooking and reduction. And second, it incorporates the heat of the jalapeno without you needing to finely chop and mince fresh chiles. This results in a sweet, sticky, and hot glaze-like salsa, which makes it perfect as a coating or glaze for grilled poultry or fish rather than just a simple dip.
Finally, mango salsa version 3, which pairs the medium chopped mango with 1 medium chopped avocado alongside red tomatoes and a crushed garlic clove. And this one specifically recommends pairing with grilled poultry.
That pairing suggestion is crucial because of the avocado. The richness and the mild creaminess of the avocado helps to temper the natural sweetness of the mango and the sharp acidity of the lime. It creates a perfectly balanced topping that complements the charred, savory flavor of grilled protein without being overwhelming.
We briefly touched on cranberry, but those recipes demonstrate really precise thermal control for maximum impact. Take the cranberry citrus salsa.
Right. It's a cook method where 2 cups of cranberries are mixed with orange juice, orange zest, chopped red onions, and a tablespoon of Tabasco sauce. Then it's all brought to a boil.
But the instruction is very specific. After it boils, you have to remove the pan from the heat and stir it vigorously to cool it quickly.
And this is explicitly done to avoid splitting the cranberries. Splitting them would lead to a very smooth, jammier, less defined texture. So rapid cooling preserves the structure of the berries while still allowing them to absorb the intense flavor of the citrus and Tabasco. It's a quick cook, high structure approach.
The cranberry ginger salsa focuses heavily on flavor infusion through its ingredients. It uses 2 tablespoons of candied ginger, raisins, and a large quantity of cranberries, simmered for 5 minutes until the cranberry skins pop.
The candied ginger adds complex sweetness and a really desirable chewy texture, while simmering until that pop ensures the internal tartness of the cranberry is forcefully released into the liquid base of pineapple-flavored juice and sugar. This is a robust, highly flavorful cooked relish.
And finally, the Caribbean salsa uses crushed and drained pineapples, diced tomatoes, and salt, but achieves its substantial heat with 1 seeded and finely minced habanero chili.
This high habanero heat is balanced by a subtle but really key tempering technique. rinsing the diced onions with heated water before combining them.
What does that do?
Rinsing the onions removes some of their harsh, pungent, raw flavor, which allows the basil, lime juice, and the delicate tropical fruit notes to coexist more harmoniously with the floral heat of the habanero. It's a method designed for refined balance.
Speaking of habanero, let's turn up the dial and dedicate an entire section to maximum heat.
This section is for recipes where the primary goal is just maximum sustained heat. These preparations demand really careful handling and a deep understanding of chili prep to safely achieve those high Scoville level experiences while still maintaining a cohesive flavor.
We start with the fire hot salsa, which gets its extreme heat by using 4 habanero peppers, with the seeds and stems removed and diced. 4 habaneros is not a gentle quantity.
No, it is not. The preparation focuses on mitigating the raw bite of the onion while preserving the fresh, intense heat of the pepper. The diced red onion is soaked in the juice of 4 limes for 30 minutes before the tomatoes and diced habaneros are even added.
So that both mellows the onion and marinates the base.
Exactly. It creates an immediate acidic marinade for the entire salsa base, enhancing flavor infusion right from the get-go.
The hot as fire salsa takes a different but equally powerful path. It uses 6 roasted habanero chiles, which are peeled, seeds and stems removed, and then minced.
Roasting the habaneros achieves something really crucial. It sacrifices a tiny bit of that fresh, immediate Scoville heat in exchange for adding that signature smoky note, which pairs incredibly well with the natural, often citrusy fruitiness of the habanero pepper.
And this one rests at room temp.
Yes, it's combined with finely diced plum tomatoes and white onion. And the instruction is key. You allow it to sit for 30 minutes at room temperature for flavor development, rather than chilling it immediately. This lets the volatile, aromatic compounds in the peppers and onions interact fully before the chill of the fridge slows that whole process down.
The habanero salsa recipe is the most comprehensive, cooked, high-heat preparation we reviewed. It uses 4 minced habanero chiles, but the base prep is extensive, which suggests a really rich, savory application.
It is a complex, multi-step cooked sauce. First, you sauté chopped bell peppers, red and green, and Anaheim chiles in oil. Then you add a substantial half cup of chicken stock and continue sautéing until the liquid entirely evaporates.
Wow, so you're really concentrating that flavor.
Exactly. Only after reducing and concentrating that stock flavor do you add the 4 minced habanero chiles, canned and fresh tomatoes, and seasonings, which include coriander, oregano, sugar, and salt.
And then it simmers for a long time.
Yes, for 20 to 30 minutes. This long cooking time extracts every bit of complex flavor from the spices and chiles, resulting in a deep, rich, and extremely hot cooked sauce designed to infuse meat or be used as a finishing sauce. The cilantro is added late, continuing the simmer just until it's heated through, integrating the herb without completely cooking it down into bitterness.
Beyond just pure heat, we see recipes focused on blending heat for complexity or preparing salsa for long-term storage, like the 5-alarm salsa, which is specifically designed for canning.
Right. This recipe uses a large quantity of whole tomatoes in puree 28 ounces, ungrained, combined with canned green chili peppers, and 2 seeded and minced green hot chili peppers. After combining everything and simmering for 5 minutes, the critical step is preservation.
And that detail is really important for safety and shelf life, which is a key technical consideration for any large batch cooking.
Absolutely. The hot salsa is transferred to heated clean jars, covered tightly, and then processed in a rapidly bubbling water bath for about 5 minutes before being cooled. This intense, controlled thermal process seals the jars for preservation, and it requires a specific consistency, which is why the recipe relies on tomato puree rather than diced tomatoes for that consistent liquid body.
Then there is the hot sweet salsa, which is all about layering different types of heat and spice for a complex flavor profile. It uses no fewer than 3 types of chiles.
It does. This recipe combines 5 roasted jalapeno, 3 roasted serrano, and 4 roasted habanero chiles.
It's a chili sampler designed for complexity.
Totally. It also uses a large red onion and 3 garlic cloves, which are sautéed until translucent before adding the chili tomato base. And that base liquid includes crushed canned tomatoes, tomato sauce, seasoned rice vinegar, and 2 specific dried chili seasonings, New Mexican chili seasoning and ancho chili seasoning.
The use of those specific dried chili powders, New Mexican, which is often milder and earthy, and ancho, which is smoky, dark, dried poblano, that's key to building a complex profile that isn't just immediate Scoville heat. It adds layers of dark, savory depth.
And this recipe requires a huge rest period. standing for a full 24 hours prior to using, specifically allowing those multiple chili flavors, both fresh and dry, to fully harmonize and integrate into the tomato base.
Finally, the Mexican Fire salsa recipe feels like the simplest but also the most intense high-heat recipe in the collection. The chili note here is paramount. It cautions wearing rubber gloves when handling the 1 cup of stemmed pecan child. Pecan childs are tiny, sometimes smaller than a fingertip, but notoriously powerful. They're often described as having a smoky, nutty flavor alongside very sharp heat. The process involves soaking the childs in 2 cups of apple cider vinegar until they soften.
And then just blend them up.
Blend them smooth with olive oil, garlic, and dry oregano. And the required waiting time is intense, standing for many hours for flavors and taste to fully incorporate. That implies the vinegar needs significant time to fully break down the chives, and the oil needs to integrate with the heat and oregano. This sounds like an intense, oily, vinegary finishing sauce, almost a concentrate of pure heat and acid.
It really does.
Okay, now we loop back to the more traditional structures, tomato, corn, and avocado, but the focus here is on how small procedural variations make a huge difference, particularly with time-sensitive ingredients and texture management.
Right. Starting with the true staples, we can quickly summarize the basic tomato recipes. The basic salsa is just a canned mix designed for simplicity and speed. It relies entirely on canned tomatoes, canned green chili peppers, onion, vinegar, and a touch of sugar and cilantro.
Purely functional.
Totally. You contrast this with the fresh tomato salsa, which emphasizes fresh herbs, fresh cilantro, and a double portion of fresh parsley, combined with red wine vinegar, olive oil, and crushed dry oregano. This preparation is clearly meant to be a vibrant, raw, chunky mix that highlights the quality of the fresh herbs and raw tomatoes. It's recommended to be served immediately with sliced veggies.
Then there's the citrus salsa, which incorporates specific preparatory steps for the base ingredient. It requires blanching the Roma tomatoes for about 30 seconds in boiling water, rinsing them, peeling them, and then chopping them.
Blanching and peeling the tomatoes is a technique used to ensure a completely silkier texture in the final salsa, free of any tough skin pieces. What's truly unique here, though, is the choice of sweetener.
Oh, this is wild.
It calls for 1 gram of artificial sweetener, specifically Splenda, along with diced oranges, minced jalapenos, and Vidalia onion.
The use of an artificial sweetener suggests a recipe designed to reduce caloric intake while still maintaining that necessary level of sweetness to balance the tartness of the oranges and the heat of the jalapeno. A highly specific dietary choice incorporated into a salsa.
It really is. Now, the 3 avocado recipes in this collection, they provide a necessary masterclass in how to handle a highly volatile ingredient. Avocado is notorious for browning and losing texture if it's prepped too soon or mixed incorrectly.
Let's start with the quick one, avocado corn salsa. This is a simple, fast assembly where cooked corn kernels, diced avocado, tomato, jalapeno, lime juice, and onion are just combined and mixed well. Because it's meant to be eaten immediately, the timing issue kind of solves itself.
Now consider avocado salsa version 1. The preparation is specifically broken into 2 distinct phases to manage that freshness. The corn, olives, tomatoes, and a robust dressing of olive oil, lemon juice, vinegar, and garlic are all mixed and chilled, covered overnight.
That overnight chilling lets all the robust, non-browning ingredients thoroughly marry their flavors and soften a bit, which is great for the corn. Then the instruction is very strict. The 4 diced avocados are added just prior to serving.
This is a classic staging technique. You build the flavor base first, letting the acids and aromatics blend fully. By adding the avocado just before presentation, you ensure it maintains its peak green color and firm texture, maximizing freshness right before it hits the table.
Avocado salsa version 2 takes that timing sensitivity one step further. It's a shorter recipe with 1 large avocado, where most things for. Tomatoes, red onion, cilantro, olive oil, lime juice, and jalapenos are combined and refrigerated. But 2 ingredients are held back.
That's right, the salt and the avocado itself. The salt is only added when you're ready to serve. This is a subtle but expert technique. Salt can draw water out of fresh ingredients over time. It's a process called osmosis, and that can potentially wilt the herbs and make the salsa soggy during refrigeration.
So by holding back the salt and the avocado until the last minute, you maximize the crisp texture and fresh appearance of the whole salsa.
Exactly. It's fascinating that just the order of operations, specifically delaying the salt, fundamentally changes the chemistry and presentation of the final dish, even if the ingredients are almost identical.
We have to conclude with the completely savory extreme, the bacon and beans salsa. This recipe is unique because it is designed to be served warm And it acts more like a hearty side dish or topping than a traditional fresh salsa.
The ingredients alone make it stand out. It uses a substantial blend of 3 types of peas and beans: black, pinto, and black-eyed peas, all rinsed and drained.
And these are combined with 2 different types of canned commercial salsa chipotle and cilantro, along with sautéed onions and garlic.
And the richness and defining flavor comes from the 4 tablespoons of crumbled, cooked, and drained bacon. The entire mix is then heated through on the stovetop.
Sautéing the aromatics, then combining them with the beans, bacon, and 2 types of commercial salsa, and heating it until it's warmed through. It creates this substantial, rich, smoky, and comforting dish. It's certainly a massive departure from the light, fresh, tropical preparations.
It really is. It broadens the definition of salsa, transforming it from a fresh condiment into a warm, savory relish or side dish that could easily anchor a meal. It definitely shows the immense flexibility of the category when we move beyond the idea of just raw and scooped.
This has been an absolute culinary journey. In reviewing this immense compendium, we've explored over 50 distinct salsa profiles, moving from highly technical green preparations that require steaming and charring to flambéed stone fruit relishes and rich, warm, hearty bean dishes.
The key takeaway for you, the learner, is understanding the 3 main pillars of salsa creativity that all these diverse recipes draw upon. First, texture. Mastering the difference between pulsing coarsely for chunky texture, like the raw green salsa, versus blending until smoothened, like the cooked jalapeno salsa.
Second, temperature. Are you going raw and chilled, like the highly time-sensitive avocado salsas? Or are you aiming for warm and cooked, like the bacon and beans salsa or that long-simmered habanero salsa? The temperature really dictates the final application.
And finally, balance. Mastering the interplay between sweet, savory, and heat components. We saw technical recipes using artificial sweetener to balance citrus acid, dark rum for flavor complexity, candied ginger for chewy sweetness, and an entire spectrum of chiles Anaheim, jalapeno, serrano, habanero, and piquinol used to customize both the heat intensity and the underlying flavor profile.
And we have to quickly revisit the most surprising techniques and ingredients we encountered that define the outer limits of this category. That incredible high-heat, complex finish involving dark rum and flaming in the apricot salsa.
The resourceful use of 3 cups of coarsely chopped cooked spaghetti squash as a neutral structural base.
The inclusion of the highly aromatic floral and potent Scotch bonnet seed in the banana salsa.
And of course, that ingenious use of hot jalapeno jelly as a sweetened liquid base in one of the mango sauces.
The value of this deep dive is realizing that you can customize your salsa not just for flavor, but for a highly specific application. You now understand the specialized cranberry sauces, the citrus and the ginger versions, perfect for seasonal pairing.
You know the differences between fresh, roasted, and cooked habanero versions for customizing heat intensity and smokiness, and those 3 avocado versions that teach you the delicate art of timing ingredient addition, specifically salt and avocado, for maximum freshness and texture preservation.
This deep dive showed us how fluid the term salsa is, serving as both a simple dip and a fully prepared complex main dish component, a relish, a glaze, a topping for grilled protein, or a hearty side. The challenge for you now is to consider which of these flavor pairings we explored, the distinctly sweet side, like banana and cherry, or the intensely savory side, like bacon and beans, are best served warm versus chilled based on the techniques and instructions we found. Start experimenting with temperature and application in your own kitchen.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.